It all started on a Tuesday night. I was in my room trying to finish my homework. The only light came from my desk lamp. It cast long, spooky shadows across the walls. I remember yawning. My eyes felt heavy. I blinked slowly just for a second. That was when I saw it. A dark shape standing in the corner of my room. It was tall and thin like a person made of pure shadow. I stared, my heart thumping like a drum. But when my eyes were fully open again, it was gone. The corner was empty. Just a pile of my old comic books. I shook my head, thinking my mind was playing tricks on me. I was probably just tired. It was late after all. My parents always said that staying up too late made you see things. I tried to focus back on my maths homework, but the image lingered in my head. That tall, dark shape. It had felt so real. I rubbed my eyes trying to clear them. I told myself it was nothing. Just a trick of the light. A shadow caused by my lamp and the weird angle of my wardrobe. Yes, that had to be it. I took a deep breath and looked back at my textbook. But I couldn't shake the feeling. A cold shiver ran down my spine. The room suddenly felt colder, emptier. I glanced back at the corner. Still nothing there. I told myself I was being silly. I was a big kid now. I wasn't afraid of the dark anymore. To prove it to myself, I decided to blink again. On purpose this time. I closed my eyes tight, held them shut for a count of 3, and then snapped them open. And there it was again. The shadow figure. It was in the exact same spot. Unmoving, silent, just standing there. My breath hitched in my throat. This was not a trick of the light, it was real. I could feel it. As soon as my eyes were fully open, it vanished into thin air, just like before. It was only there in that split second, that in-between moment of a blink. My homework was completely forgotten. All I could think about was the shadow in the corner. Why could I only see it when I blinked? Was it a ghost? A monster? I had to know what was going on, but a part of me, a very scared part, didn't want to find out. I decided to test it one more time. I had to be sure. I focused on the empty corner, my eyes wide and unblinking. I took a slow, shaky breath. Then I blinked. Just a quick one this time. Snap. It was there. But something was different. My blood ran cold. It wasn't in the corner anymore. It had moved. It was a few steps closer to my desk. Still tall, still thin, still utterly black. It was like a hole in the world, shaped like a person. And then as my eyes opened fully, it was gone again. The space where it stood was just empty floorboards. A wave of panic washed over me. I tried not to blink. I stared at the spot where the shadow had been, my eyes burning. I couldn't stop thinking about it. Every blink brought it closer. What would happen when it reached me? My eyes started to water. They stung. I knew I couldn't keep them open forever. The urge to blink was becoming unbearable. It was a battle I couldn't win. My eyelids felt like they weighed 100 kilograms each. I had to blink. I had no choice. I squeezed my eyes shut for a tiny fraction of a second. When I opened them, my heart leaped into my throat. It was closer still. Now it was standing by the edge of my rug. I could almost make out the shape of its head, its long, spindly arms. It had no face, no features, just a terrifying emptiness. The silence in the room was deafening. All I could hear was my own ragged breathing and the frantic pounding of my heart against my ribs. I felt trapped. It was like a horrible game of statues. But I was the only one who could lose. And the prize for losing was something I didn't want to imagine. I pushed my chair back, away from the desk, away from the approaching shadow. My eyes were screaming for relief. Tears streamed down my cheeks, blurring my vision, but I fought it. I fought the natural need to blink. I knew with a certainty that chilled me to the bone that with every single blink, this dark thing was stalking me. It was hunting me in the spaces between seconds. How much closer would it be next time? Halfway across the room? Right next to my chair? I didn't want to find out. I had to keep my eyes open. I just had to. I needed help. I needed to see what was happening to me. My bedroom door was closed, but the bathroom was just across the hall. It had a big mirror above the sink. Maybe if I could see my own reflection, I could understand. Keeping my eyes wide and stinging, I stumbled out of my chair and fumbled for the doorknob. The hallway was dark, but I didn't dare turn on the light. I didn't want to see it any more clearly. I shuffled across the cold floor, my gaze fixed forward, fighting with every ounce of my strength not to blink. I reached the bathroom and flicked on the light switch. The sudden brightness made my eyes water even more. I had to blink. It was a reflex, sharp and fast. I couldn't stop it. For that single terrifying instant, the world went dark. When I opened my eyes, I was staring at my reflection in the mirror. But I wasn't alone. Standing right behind me in the reflection was the shadow figure. It was so close now. Its featureless head was right over my shoulder. I could almost feel its cold presence. I spun around, my heart hammering, but there was nothing there. The bathroom was empty. I looked back at the mirror. It was just me again. My face was pale, my eyes red and wide with terror. Was I going mad? Was it all in my head? I had to be sure. I stared at my own reflection, gathering my courage. I forced myself to blink again, watching my own face in the mirror. In the flicker of my eyelids closing and opening, I saw it. The shadow was there in the reflection, its dark form pressed against my back. But when I looked behind me in the real world, there was still nothing. It was only in the mirror. A horrifying thought struck me. What if it wasn't behind me? What if it was inside me? Was that why it only appeared in my reflection? The idea was so terrible I felt sick. I backed away from the mirror, my hands trembling. The shadow was a part of me, a dark passenger. And with every blink, I was letting it get closer to the surface. I had to get it on camera. I needed proof. I needed someone to believe me. My phone was back in my room, sitting on my desk, right where this nightmare began. I ran back to my room, my eyes burning. I snatched my phone from the desk. My fingers were shaking so badly I could barely unlock it. I opened the camera app and switched it to the front-facing camera. I needed to see it again, to capture it. I held the phone up, my own terrified face staring back at me from the small screen. I took a deep breath, trying to steady my hands. I knew what I had to do. I had to blink. I had to let it get closer, just for a moment, so I could record it. I stared into the phone's camera lens and blinked. For that split second, on the screen, the shadow figure appeared. It was right behind me, its form clearer than ever. It was so close its head was next to mine. But the most terrifying part was what the phone recorded. I played the video back. I watched myself blink, but there was no shadow. Nothing. Just my own scared face flickering on the screen. The camera couldn't see it. Only I could. The technology couldn't capture this horror. It was my own personal nightmare. My hope crumbled. There was no proof. No one would ever believe me. I was completely and utterly alone with this thing. The urge to blink was becoming an agony. My eyelids were twitching uncontrollably. I tried holding them open with my fingers, but it was no use. My body was betraying me. It wanted to blink, and it was going to win. I could feel the pressure building, a desperate, unstoppable need for that moment of darkness. I knew what would happen. It would be closer. Maybe this would be the last blink. My eyes fluttered. Once, twice. Each time the shadow loomed larger, darker, closer. It was no longer behind me. It was beside me. I could feel a deathly cold seeping into my skin. I tried to scream, but no sound came out. My body gave in. I couldn't fight it anymore. My eyelids slid shut, heavy as lead. It was the longest blink of my life. I knew when I opened them, it would be over. The darkness lingered, and in that darkness, I felt a whisper of cold air right against my cheek. I opened my eyes. It was right there.